Harry, good morning. How you doing today?
Hey Camilo, good morning. Great to get started this new year with this amazing topic.
I know. So everyone, just so you know, I'm here with the CEO of Logica PA. We are an immigration boutique firm. And Harry, I want you to introduce yourself. Tell us briefly about what you do, and then we're gonna get started with H1B, Trump, Elon Musk, technology, and different questions that we've been asked the last three to 5 days as to his policies and so on. So go for it. Let's do it.
All right, thank you, Camilo. Camilo, also want to recognize that you are my co-founder, and we've been building this business since 2013, and really working a lot of H-1Bs, which are becoming a hot topic again now with President Trump's return on January 20th. I'm CEO, co-founder of Logica. We have been working on technology-based visas like H-1B, and also O-1s at times, that has been really helping middle size to big size companies get the engineers and the high skilled workers to join their companies. And we've been doing it for quite a while. We've built a whole team all around it and helping HR managers, CEOs, walk them through the process of getting that talented worker who happens to be born in a different country but is very well educated, bringing her on board, getting her an H-1B visa, and then at some point getting them at that permanent residency through the permanent labor certification. So we're excited to explain what is going on now around H-1B. How does it diverge from the MAGA movement, and how does it actually work with the MAGA movement as well? So we can discuss that today.
All right. So now we know that Trump is the president of the United States of America, and we do immigration law, and most of our clients are concerned, or if they're not concerned, they have questions and they want to know more. So listen, my marketing team actually sent me a few questions that clients and including members of our families or like our own staff basically are asking. So first one, so let's pay attention, Harry. So how do you think Trump's endorsement of Musk's position on H1B will affect his standing with his base, right? Because especially those that actually support America First and their stance on immigration. So, what do you think? What do you think so far
Okay.
is happening?
All right. So far, of course, President Trump will be joining January 20th. Back, he'll be returning back to the White House, and that's just a couple more weeks. And what he was campaigning on was America First, close the border. But that's quite different from saying, do not hire high skilled workers. And so so now what we're seeing is that I believe that he's going to be really tough on immigration cases revolving temporary protective status and asylum, perhaps, or and unlawful immigration when people enter illegally. But H-1B visas, they're like at the top tier. And those are the folks that are helping us create new technologies and really making America first in the sense of creating better technologies, and so we can compete against big countries like China and India. So what's happening now is that based on what Trump has said in support of Musk, is that he's going to be friendly to H-1B workers. And I'm hoping not only that he's friendly, but that he's able to extend that 85,000 visa limit per
That would be
year and
amazing.
hopefully go beyond. That would be amazing because last year there were just under 500,000 applicants, mostly these technology-based companies and employers trying to fill these roles. And there's a recent statistic that came out in the Wall Street Journal saying that that there was twice as many jobs available for professional level jobs than there were professional available unemployed workers. So it is a real struggle. It is a real struggle. So I don't see that there's a conflict between the America First MAGA movement versus America First employ the best people around the world.
The issue that maybe some of his base they don't understand it, and they don't understand
Yeah.
H1B, and they don't understand the people's minds like Musk, obviously, because he gone through the whole process. He has bunch of companies actually hiring lots of people under H1B or other immigrant or non-immigrant petitions. So I think it's kind of like educating his base and
Yeah.
try to I don't know, to meet in probably in the middle with them to be able to pass all these policies. Now, man, H1B is huge for us. It's huge. It's huge for employers. It's huge for people, especially in the areas of STEM, science,
Yeah.
technology, engineering, and mathematics. And
Right.
unfortunately, people think that America first means only hiring American workers, and the issue is that we don't have enough people
Right.
to get jobs. That's what's happening. So somehow America first might mean as well the best interest for the country as a whole, for US employers, for companies, and by that means hiring H1B, especially these wonderful employees who wanna come here and work, eager to work, respect the laws as well. And I agree with you. I think
Yeah.
what Trump and his base are going to concentrate a lot is going to be with those TPS, those asylum cases that you know that most of them they don't even
Yeah.
fit the criteria of the asylum.
They don't fit the
Unfortunately,
criteria. Right.
yeah. These people who actually are unlawful in the U.S. They have been detained because they actually committed crimes in the
Right.
U.S. I'm okay with that,
Yeah, that
and
makes a lot of sense.
yeah, like obviously because if you come to the states, you need to abide by the law. The minimum that you need to do that. You need to comply.
Yeah.
You can't do anything illegal. You can't do any crimes. And if you do that, guess what? Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
okay if you're deported. And as an
And
immigration attorney, I'm okay with that as well.
and I agree. Certainly, people who are entering unlawfully, or are perhaps putting up fake stories to get asylum, which is not unlawful, right? You can lawfully ask for asylum, but putting fake information,
I don't agree with
those
that,
folks,
Harry. Yeah, I
those
don't.
folks should be removed because they're abusing the system. But here we're talking about for people who voted for President Trump, which was a variety of people. There were Hispanics, African Americans. There are a lot of people from different backgrounds. So it wasn't just a Christian white nationalist movement. It was a movement of everyone together who said we want Trump because they see the abuse that's happening. But what I want to clarify, I think what we want to clarify, is that the highly skilled workers, H-1Bs, which are typically at least bachelor's degrees and many times masters and PhDs, that uh, that is a need that we have, and we had it for a long time. And we can look back to even back World War II, when the United States imported a lot of people from Europe, sometimes from Germany too, for scientists to work for
Right.
us in the United States. And if you go back, that's where this whole process begins, where we're essentially being the magnet for the world's best people, and that is putting America first, absorbing the world's best and putting them here in the United States, working for our companies. Otherwise, what will happen? Well, there's another huge magnet in the world. It's not just the United States; it's China, and China will absorb the best as well, and they will pay a
And China is
lot.
looking.
So,
China is looking
and
at us.
of course, they
And
are. Yeah, they're
and
looking at us.
please, Harry, I mean, just to clarify, it's not that we are okay. Just let's go and deport like thousands of people on fast track.
No, we don't want that.
I want
No.
to clarify this because this is very important. If you come to this country and you break the law, you committed crimes. You basically don't do what you're supposed to do. I'm very sorry, but there is a rule of law in this country. So I'm okay, and many people as well, in which if you don't do what you're supposed to do, then well, you may need to leave the country as well. Now there is
Yeah.
lots of people, and the majority of people, they actually do what they're supposed to do, and they are not going to commit crimes. They're going to request their right immigration benefit. We welcome these people, which is probably the majority. But there are a
Right.
few lately that basically in the last, I don't know, 7 8 years, in which is insane. And I don't agree, and you don't agree, and many people don't agree with those fake asylum cases,
Right.
fake forged cases that basically they just go and create forging documents and so on. No, no. Here, H1B, what we're talking about is US employers. They want the best of the best. They want qualified people, qualified employees, and that's very important. So let's go to a second question. So,
Yeah.
does Trump support for H-1B visas? signal a shift in his immigration policy, or do you think this is just to align key business interests as well, because he's a business person?
Yeah.
He's a
Well,
business
well,
person. So you
President.
we kind of know him a bit, you know?
Yeah, yeah, he's absolutely. I mean, he's absolutely a business person. I mean, that's part of the reason why he's been reelected. Um, and he recently said that he was pro H-1B. He says has many H-1B workers. A further study demonstrates that he actually has a lot of H-2B workers. So he may have conflated those two, but it signals his openness to bring workers when they're needed to fill certain roles. So it looks like he's not closed minded in terms of completely closing the border off. It's not, because we're not talking about H-1B or H-2B is not about problems at the border.
No,
This is about filling roles that American companies are having a hard time to fill. I'll give you an example. H-2B, which are typically manual labor work, there's 66,000 visas that are issued per year. 66,000 which are distributed from California to New York, across the country. Okay? And employers are struggling to fill the roles. Now, H-1B, it's 85,000 visas per year, and those are for the highly skilled workers, which tend to be engineering and science roles. And employers are also struggling to fill those. So Trump, I believe, understands that there's good business in managing these programs, but in a competent and a fair way.
I agree.
So does it signal a shift? No, I think it just clarifies to his supporters, people that voted for him, that he wants to put America first, like he's been saying, but in a smart way, in an economical way, to keep this engine moving forward and continue America's strength economically across the world.
I agree. So if you are a US employer or you are a US employee looking for a not looking for a job, you already have like a sponsor and you need help with H1B, please contact us immediately so we can actually help you out. All right?
Yeah,
All right, Harry. So let's continue. So the next question, I believe that you already answered it, but just I'm gonna ask it either way.
yeah,
So how would an expansion of the H-1B visa program impact the innovation ecosystems in the US, especially those in the artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and software development? And
yeah,
let's remember STEM: science,
yeah.
technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Right.
What's your answer?
Right. So AI, cybersecurity,
Super important.
that is software development that falls within those fields of education, the STEM fields. Um, well, I did mention there's an 85,000 visa limit per year, and uh, what's happening now is that American workers, I think they'd rather hire Americans because it's an easier process to hire Americans, but the 85,000 is a supplement for the roles that can't be filled. Okay, um, if if those 85,000 is not enough, and I can tell you it's not enough because last year there was just under 500,000 applicants, right? And the year before that there was about 700,000. Um, so, and I presume these numbers will continue to be about the same this year. That then, if we were to have that many workers building technology for this country, uh, the threat of intellectual property being built in China or in other countries that are not as friendly to us would probably be diminished. We become a lot more capable. We can expand technologies as Bitcoin, blockchain technology. We can expand it further and really make America continue making it a very powerful and potent economy. But we only have 85,000 people a year, and sometimes people who do not get selected end up going working for in other countries. They might go back to their home country, maybe they go to Canada. But our goal in the United States is to really attract the best and the brightest. And that language does come from President Trump back in 2016, 17. but that's the truth anyway. Even prior to him being president, when the system was built, it's for the best and the brightest. Now, the issue that some Americans are saying is that, well, the H-1B system is being used to undercut employee salaries for Americans, and I suppose that there could be some truth to that. But I can tell you that, first being an H-1B employer and also having helped hundreds of companies, maybe more over the last decade, that employers typically argue with me that the prevailing wage, which is the minimum that the government requires that job be paid, is too high relative to their employers. I'm sorry, relative to their workers, meaning
And people
that
don't get
sometimes,
that, right, Harry?
yeah,
Because people, regular people, and they don't have to though, because they don't know. So
yeah,
it's not that they just go and hire an Indian software engineer and then just pay him like minimum wage.
no.
No, it doesn't work like that.
That's right. That doesn't work that way. The Department of Labor will dictate, literally dictate the minimum that this worker may be paid, and that minimum is determined by the location of the job, the type of job it is, the qualifications required. So the higher education and the higher and the more years of experience, the higher the job is, and then we have to prove as immigration attorneys that the salary that they're going to pay meets the minimum being required. And employers, HR managers, and CEOs say, "Harry, this is $5,000 or $10,000 more than I would pay my own American workers." I'm like, "But what are you going to do? Can you hire someone else?" No. Okay, if you can't hire someone else, and then you have to, follow the rules. And that's usually what I find. I don't find that this system is being abused. I'm sure it happens, but my experience shows that they're usually paying a little bit more than their American workers, which helps overall the value of that job for American workers to stay high.
I agree. Hey, listen, let's now shift a bit, and let's talk about TN visas, right? And so now
Yeah,
the US, Canada, and Mexico. So,
yeah,
what do you think about increasing scrutiny in those TN visa applicants, taking into account that there is a free trade agreement between among the three countries
yeah.
that allows certain nationals from Mexico and Canada, if they meet certain criteria, to be able to come into the US. Are you pro, against? I'm telling you something. I'm pro
Mhm.
scrutiny if we can actually continue making the process better and making sure that the people that come into this country actually meet the criteria of the TN visas. I'm okay with that. What do you think so far?
Well, I would say that I've seen the criteria for both Canada and Mexico, and of course, this TN visa comes from the NAFTA agreement, but now it's called the USMC agreement, United States Mexico Canada agreement, and so. Increasing the scrutiny is important because the TN is very similar to the H-1B, which means that it requires people with bachelor's degrees to fill the roles. Now, the truth is that even with the TN system, uh, the TN system doesn't really provide enough workers to fill the roles in the United States. It's not like there's a massive amount of engineers coming out of Canada or from Mexico to fill the roles here. But when an employer does find an engineer from Canada or Mexico, I highly recommend that you use TN in lieu of the H-1B because there is no limit as to how many visas you may apply for. There's 85,000 on for H-1B each March that may be requested, but you can request TN anytime of the year and for as many as you need with no limit. But even with those two countries in our north and our south, there's not enough engineers filling those roles. So I would say yes, scrutiny is important, but I wish those countries had more of these STEM educated people.
I understand that. I think training the consuls overseas is important because sometimes they don't have enough info. Sometimes I think
Yeah.
external policies or basically politics affect the issuing of visas overseas as well. And
Hmm.
I believe educating, training, that's going to be key as well for the visas to be issued. And I'll give you a brief example. We have information, or we heard, or we know, let's say a consulate overseas in Latam. I'm not going to say which one, but one day all visas denied, just randomly, investor visas,
Hmm.
knowing that the client has invested lots of money, knowing that renewals have been previously granted, and BS excuses from the consulates as well as to like the denials. So I wish
Right.
like there was more training, more like clarity, transparency from both sides as well, right? So, but I agree
Yeah.
with you. So listen, now let's go into the last question so we can actually finish
Yeah.
overstays. So everyone is concerned, and especially this administration, I mean Trump's administration is concerned, is going to be concerned about overstays, meaning people who come
Overseas.
here with an intention, which is probably like a tourism to come and visit. They ended up just staying more than 6 months. What do you think? I think
Yeah.
these people, unfortunately, and their families are going to be crazy affected, and they're going to be targeted. What do you think?
Yes, yeah, that's a good point. Overstays are when people enter the country lawfully, typically with a tourist visa, or sometimes with a student visa, and then when the period of stay expires, they do not leave, do not return home, and then essentially they're unlawfully present. Okay, and so what happens is that many times, unless they marry a U.S. citizen, they find themselves unlawfully present in the United States for many years. They'll build a family, and so and then it becomes more complicated. The I do foresee, like I think what you're mentioning here, I do foresee that Trump's administration will likely target those groups because there's a list of people. So all they have to do is check. Well, did this person leave after 6 months for the tourist visa? Or was this student reported not attending class? And since there's a list, it's going to be easy to target them. It'll be easier to target those folks than it'll be to target the person who entered unlawfully without
I agree.
saying that he's here. So in a sense, the person who entered unlawfully without ever declaring himself, he might have a little more cover than the people who entered lawfully and then said, "Hey, you know what? I'm not going to follow the rules." So, in a sense, they're going to be punished for entering lawfully and then punished for breaking the rules. So, I would say yes. If you're in that situation, you stayed unlawful, you overstayed after your 6 month stay in tourist visas. Come and talk to us. Get yourself fixed. Either leave or find
And
out
it's
an
hard
alternative
to do
solution.
so, Harry. It's hard to do so because there is only a waiver, which is the lawful presence waiver. And if you have
Mm,
American children, they are not basically they don't help at all. So it has to be your spouse
right.
who has to be a U.S. citizen or your parents U.S. citizens. So
Right.
it's a tough situation. All
It
right,
is tough.
Harry,
Yeah.
we spoke and listen. Thank you for the time. We spoke about Trump, what's going to happen, and we're going to continue doing this, especially the next 3 months, this first quarter of
Yeah.
2025. We're going to be on it. We're going to check the news. We're going to see what is happening in immigration. I know that you read a huge proposed legislation that may happen soon.
Yeah.
You know,
Project 2025. Yeah.
correct. And we're going to talk in the next video about this so you
Yeah.
can give us a broad ideas as to what's going to happen because it's going to
Sure.
happen. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you a lot. Appreciate your time and have an excellent day.
Thanks, Camilo.